Hello everyone, so this is UPSC GS Mains Paper 2 and this is Topic 1, Constitutional Features and Important Provision Part 3. So what will happen in the next part, or the next part which I will make of UPSC GS Mains Paper 2, they will focus on Topic 2. We'll start Topic 2. That is the federal features. There's so many things here. Delhi Center tussle, then local bodies, their issues, mains questions on this. We'll try to discuss all these things in the next part. So we'll start Topic 2 from the next part and we'll do Topic 1 right now. So Topic 1 is more static. If you have a look at it and if you read it again and again, syllabus is very important. You should be reading it again and again. So you will realize that this is more static. So there are many pre-questions which has been asked from this topic. Mains question as well. We have discussed one preamble questions, but pre-questions are so many. And when we move on further in these topics, now you'll realize more and more mains questions are being asked from these parts, which is both static as well as dynamic. Static plus dynamic. So Topic 1, if I want to make videos, I can make 50 videos only on Topic 1, but we'll not do that. We'll cover the other areas and then we'll come back to Topic 1. We'll cover other areas, other topics also, whatever you want. But first of all, let's talk about constitutional features, important provision part 3 today, and then we'll move on to Topic 2 in the next video. So as we were talking about in the previous lecture, we're talking about mains questions on preamble, and I have told you that we'll do the pre-question in the next class. So let's do this. And let's not do only pre-questions on preamble. Let's do pre-questions on other areas as well, which is there in Topic 1. So this was one question, which one of the following objective is not embodied in preamble. Now, this is a kind of a question, if you have not revised, if you don't remember preamble, you will find very difficulty or lots of difficulty here in solving this question. They're talking about liberty. What are different types of liberty which are there? If you remember, there was justice in preamble of 3 types, social, economic, and political. So what are different types of liberty in preamble? You can pause the video if you want to give it a try and you don't want me to spoil the question for you. So I have given you a mnemonic, TEF4. Liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. So you have liberty of thought, you have liberty of expression, you have liberty of belief, but you don't have economic liberty. So the answer here is B, economic liberty. You can have a look at the preamble also. So you have liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, but you don't have economic liberty. Same way, in the next part, they can ask you what types of justice are there in preamble. So please remember it. The sooner you remember your preamble, awesome, or better it will be for you. In the mains question also, they have talked about what are the different types of attributes added to the word republic. Again, if you don't know your preamble, how will you answer that mains question as well? So this question, answer is B. Now let's try to solve this particular question. Mind of makers of the Constitution is reflected in which of the following? Preamble, FR, DPSP, and FD. This is not... Okay, so we were talking about connection there was a disconnection there, and that is happening because there are some issues in it. Fine. So we're talking about this mind of makers of the Constitution. It is reflected in which of the following? Preamble, FR, DPSP, or FD. So there was a debate here, and there were various Supreme Court judgments which sorted out this debate, that where do you find the mind of makers are reflected in what? So there were different cases, like there was one Berubari Union case. If you remember basic structure there also, we have discussed so many cases. Most of the people will talk only about Keshwanand Bharti, but you have to talk about SGKMW, which we have discussed earlier in the basic structure video. So Berubari Union case, then Keshwanand Bharti case of 1973. Then there was one other case, which was SR Bommai case. SR Bommai case of 1994, which is more known for precedent rule. We'll talk about that later. So after all these judgments now, Supreme Court said that mind of the makers of the Constitution is reflected in what? Just a second here. So yes, after these judgments, Supreme Court said that mind of the makers of the Constitution is reflected in the preamble, sir and ma'am. So the answer here is A, preamble. So preamble shows the general purpose behind the several provisions of the Constitution. That is the basic thing here. Okay. Don't worry about these cases. You will read about them a lot. A lot means a lot. So this question is done. Now see this prelims question, UPSC 2013. A very good question again. Economic justice as one of the objectives of the Indian Constitution has been provided in what? So preamble, justice, how many types of justice you have? Social, political, economic, social, political, 3 types of justice you have. So preamble has to be there. So that means this option gone. None of the above generally is not the answer. What has been, there were certain studies which realized that, or which came to a deduction that, let's say there is one option which is all of the above, and there's one option which says none of the above, right? So ideally what happens, there is 25% probability of each of these options. Okay, so we are back live again, and I'm very, very sorry for just I'm so sorry, you people. We are again sometimes going back and forth. Thank you. There's a lady which is saying in the background that recording is in progress. So we're talking about economic justice. So justice, social, economic, and political, these three types are there in preamble. So ideally, she will not be the answer. Preamble has to be there. And none of the above we're talking about that. Let's say there are four options, A, B, C, D. So all of them has ideally, according to probability, 25% chance of getting correct. But according to various studies, what they have realized is that, let's say there is one option called all, and let's say there's another option called none. So all has greater than 25% probability of being correct, and none has approximately 21% probability of being correct. So none is generally not the answer. Don't pick none until or unless you're very sure. So we know economic justice is there in preamble. Now, what about FR and DPSP? One thing you have to remember is FR promotes political justice. What does FR promote? It promotes political justice. And DPSP promotes social and economic justice. Now here you may have read it again and again in Lakshmikant also, these kind of things: social objective, political objective, social objective, economic objective is fine. If you see DPSP article 36 to 51, it talks about directive principles of state policy, part 4. And there you will see equal pay for equal work, free legal aid, and all those things are there in DPSP. FR is there in article 12 to 35, part 3. You have to go home and revise these if you have not yet studied these. So what does it mean? If you see this constitution, what does it mean, political justice and social and economic justice? What is the basic meaning here, which we're trying to discuss in these points, like when we are talking about this? So political justice means, when we say FR promotes political justice, so it means these are the FR's fundamental rights we're talking about. So this means, what is, first of all, the term here is political justice, which is promoted by FR. What does political justice means? It means application of judicial means. Application of judicial means. Do try to understand this. This is important. Application of judicial means for restricting or controlling political power. For restricting or controlling political power. That is the basic meaning of political justice, for restricting or controlling political power. So that means fundamental rights, they are acting as a restriction on government. They are telling what laws they cannot make. They cannot make laws which curbs our, like, secularism aspect, freedom of religion aspect, equality before law aspect. So they are, it is also said that fundamental rights are negative obligations, and DPSPs are positive obligations. DPSP tells government what to do. So do remember what I have just told you, that fundamental rights, they do not promote economic justice, they promote political justice. DPSP, they promote social and economic justice. So the answer here is B. Do revise fundamental rights and DPSP. If you want me to, I can make one separate video on these as well. So political justice, fundamental rights, social and economic justice, DPSP. Do remember what is political justice? Application of judicial means for restricting or controlling political power. Now, let's talk about some other important features you will time and again hear in constitutional features, important provision, that is democracy. What is democracy? So many people confuse parliamentary form of government with democracy. Here, see the question. Democracy's superior virtue lies in the fact that it calls into activity what? Intelligence and character of ordinary men and women, methods for strengthening executive leadership, superior individual with dynamism, band of dedicated party workers. Again, pause the video if you are solving the question and you don't want me to ruin it for you. So democracy is government of the people. You may have read it in like 6, 7 standard: of the people, for the people, by the people. So what does it mean? Of the people, for the people, by the people. Of the people means these representatives, these are part of us. They're, it's not like Bhagwan ji ne upar se bheja, upar se tapke hain ye. Again, my mother tongue is Hindi, so it sometimes comes out abruptly. So that means it's not like they are some superior beings. They are part of us. They're just like us. and we have elected them. So government of the people means representatives, they are part of us. For the people means they're working for our welfare, working for our welfare, working for our welfare. And the last part is by the people. That means we have elected them. We have elected them. So do remember these words. So answer here is, it talks about intelligence and character of ordinary men and women. Winston Churchill, when India was getting independence, he was saying that, and we granted adult franchise to everyone, irrespective of whether you're a male, female, etc., etc. So he was like, no man, India is such illiterate people. In India, you have so many illiterate people. This democracy will not survive, and you're giving voting rights to everyone, etc., etc. But we have survived. We have flourished, in fact. So who or boo-hoo, Winston Churchill. And if you read about Winston Churchill, he was very much responsible for the famines which happened in 1940s India. So I personally don't like him. But again, here we are not talking about likes and dislikes. Hope you understand. The answer is intelligence and character of ordinary men and women. So democracy means demo the people, kratos means to rule. A. Let's see some more questions on constitutional features and important provision. Right to marry. Which article of the Constitution? Okay. So we're talking about right to marry, right to marry, right to marry, right to marry. Can we marry anyone we want to? Can we? We still have the concept of, okay, fine. First of all, let's talk about right to marry. For marrying somebody, if you're a boy, you need a girl. If you're a girl, you need a boy. And that's sometimes tough to find. Okay, jokes, stupid jokes apart. Right to marry is there in which article? Read fundamental rights, sir and ma'am, read fundamental rights. So right to life and personal liberty. It's a very, if you see the Constitution now, there's one line, right to life and personal liberty, where it is. In which article? Article 21. And if you see the Constitution, do have a hard copy or soft copy of Constitution with you, you will see there's one line which is written there. That is, and I will, you can have a look at it. It is about protection of life and personal liberty, and they have just defined it in one line. But Supreme Court in its various judgments, they have added so many things to Article 21, sir and ma'am. So many things. So right to marry is also there in Article 21. Right to privacy is also there in Article 21. We can marry anyone we want to, provided that person wants to marry us. So right to privacy, again, is a part of Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. And that was by K.S. Puttaswamy judgment. So here the answer is Article 21. And this was not like it was always there. There was a Hadiya case. So Hadiya was a girl in Kerala, and she married a Muslim man and converted her religion. So Kerala High Court said, no, you cannot do that, because her parents went to Kerala High Court. Then Supreme Court said, no, she is free to do whatever she wants to. She has a right to marry. She has a right to convert. So this girl here is Hadiya. So right to marry is a person's choice. Supreme Court said that, and it set aside Kerala High Court order, which said that, no, you cannot marry this guy because your parents are right. And how stupid is that? We should not be saying stupid. Maybe Kerala High Court had some valid arguments, but you can understand, if she is adult, she has a right to take her own decisions. But again, the atmosphere is very charged right now, so I don't want to comment any further on this. We will just go with the Supreme Court judgment. Right to marry is our right. We can marry whoever we want to, provided that person is ready to marry us. Right to privacy. K.S. Puttaswamy judgment. Now, this was a constitutional bench which gave this judgment. The question here is, what is constitutional bench? What do you understand by constitutional bench? What is the basic meaning of constitutional bench? When five or more judges, Supreme Court judges, they give a verdict, it is known as constitutional bench. So it was a 9-judge bench, if I'm not wrong. So which gave this right to privacy judgment, K.S. Puttaswamy case. I have already given you the answer when we're discussing the previous question. So the answer here is Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. Here, Supreme Court has added so many things, right to clean air, right to clean environment, so many things they have added, right to free legal aid, all these things Supreme Court has added in Article 21. So the answer is C. K.S. Puttaswamy, 9-judge bench. Justice K. Hudson. Fine, sir. So let's keep until here only. Basic structure we have discussed in the previous lectures of part 1, of topic 1 rather. And this was a separate video. It has nothing to do with constitutional features and provision part 1, 2, 3. In the next part, we'll start topic 2, federal features. So many things we'll discuss. Means questions we'll try to solve. Theek hai, sir and ma'am. Take care. Be blessed. Bye-bye.